Wildcats are that much closer to the championship game, but their feline foes, the Pitt Panthers, are ready to use all 9 lives to stay alive. Cats and Panthers mix it up tonight.
They gather in Gotham to separate, to step up, to stand out, to leave their stamp on these streets.
Let's go!
With UConn undone, Nova could be the next #1, with the Big East and national titles next on their agenda. Gray all the way. Buckle your seatbelts, folks. Here we go. The Panthers are peaking as Carl Krauser, born in the Bronx, comes back to the Big Apple, hoping to leave with a crown. They all want to carve it on the trophy, pound it out on their chest. So many have come here, but we are the best.
This is 10% luck, 20% skill, 15% concentrated power of will, 5% pleasure, 50% pain, and 100% reason to remember the name.
Here in New York, inside Madison Square Garden for the second semifinal of the Big East Championship presented by Aeropostale. It is the Villanova Wildcats and the Pittsburgh Panthers. The game coming up. All the details on the game coming up in a moment. But first, God bless America. The Villanova Wildcats ranked 2nd in the nation, with #1 UConn losing yesterday against the 16th ranked Pittsburgh Panthers. The winner to take on is Syracuse in the championship game tomorrow night here with the Big East Championship presented by Aeropostale. Syracuse with another thrilling victory. A 1-point win, a big comeback to beat Georgetown. Jerry McNamara's fingerprints all over this win again. If you missed it, shame on you, and we'll tell you more about it through tonight's second semifinal and, of course, during the championship game tomorrow night. Hi, everybody. Dan Shulman and Len Elmore back with you again. Villanova and Pittsburgh, two great teams, very different styles, but a lot of success.
Well, two teams that are on different paths to the Big East Championship. When you talk about the 2-seed Villanova Wildcats, #2 in the nation, we're talking about a smooth superhighway. A bunch of guys who are skilled, very athletic, and they've got 4 lanes, as in the 4 guards, to travel. And again, when you talk about these guys, you look at their ability to create shots for themselves and for others. And when you talk about Pitt, it's all about the bumpy road. Fits and starts, really not being as smooth as you'd like, but their physical style makes opponents play just as ugly. But one thing you got to say about the Panthers, they have arrived, and they're here to play the #2 seed.
And look at our Star Watch tonight, a couple of guards, but just as you said, Len, very different. Alan Ray, smooth as silk, and Carl Krauser. The road gets a little bumpy, but the results are there.
Well, Bronx is in the house tonight. Carl Krauser and Alan Ray, both hailing from the Bronx, New York. Crafty Carl Krauser finds a way to win, and he assumes the leadership. Alan Ray, 19 points a game. He's one of the 3 go-to guys on this Villanova team.
Last night in Pittsburgh's comeback win over West Virginia, they were without one of their starters, Levon Kendall, out with a back spasm. Freshman Sam Young stepped in, started, did a great job. Let's get the latest on their health tonight as we go to Mark Jones.
Yeah, great scene inside the Pitt locker room last night as Jamie Dixon, the coach, put Kendall on speakerphone so that he could celebrate with the rest of the team in spite of his lower back injury. Today, he told me that he wasn't able to get out of bed yesterday until 4 p.m. He did receive treatment this afternoon on his lower back, and Kendall told me that he will not start in the ball game, although the coaches did not limit his minutes. Young gets the start once again in his place. And Young did a masterful job coming off the bench prior to this, but he did do a great job yesterday after a very shaky start to begin the game, guys.
All right, Mark, thank you. Sam Young, very bright future, 14 points and 11 rebounds last night in his first ever start, and it couldn't have come at a bigger time. Here are the Pitt Panthers, a three-guard look with Krauser, Ramon, and Benjamin. Krauser loves the spotlight. He's had some really big moments in Pittsburgh's first two wins to get here to the semifinal. Ramon, the sharpshooter from outside. Young will start alongside the big man in the middle, Aaron Gray. 19 points, 15 rebounds last night against West Virginia, the Big East leading rebounder on the season. For Villanova, firepower galore. Lowry, Nardi, Ray, who had a huge game against Rutgers last night, and a fourth guard who actually someone plays a forward position at times, Randy Foye, the Big East Player of the Year. And let's not forget about the sometimes forgotten man, Will Sheridan, who had one of the best games of his career. 17 points and 13 rebounds last night in a win over Rutgers. Tonight's telecast is available in stunning ESPN high definition here on ESPN HD, brought to you by Dish Network. Now, folks, remember, the Big East has 16 teams in it. The league is so big and television contracts are such that not every team gets to play every other team. These two teams did not meet this season. Villanova in white, Pittsburgh in blue. The house is full here at the Garden, and we're underway with Carl Krauser wrestling the basketball for the first possession of the night.
Well, Pittsburgh obviously relatively a controlled tempo type of opportunity. They will look for some open shots. Started off slowly yesterday against West Virginia, was down 7 at halftime. Really picked it up by going inside the big Aaron Gray in the second half.
A turnover by the Panthers. Here comes Kyle Lowry being defended by Carl Krauser. Now on a switch, Young has him. Randy Foye rises up for three, and the Big East Player of the Year this year gives Villanova the early lead.
Well, we're talking about two teams, Pittsburgh in the top 5 in points allowed and field goal percentage D, versus Villanova, second in offense, second in scoring margin, and among the top leaders overall.
Kyle Lowry is called for the foul. If you're not that familiar with Lowry, you'll want to keep your eyes on number 1 in white, the conference leader in steals. Intense, physical, tough, and has really been a huge asset to this team, becoming a starter because of the knee injuries to Curtis Sumter. Gray may have had that tip from behind by Sheridan.
Well, that was the formula Pitt used in the second half, going into Aaron Gray with his size and his scoring ability.
Gray at 7 foot 270. Sheridan 6'8", 240. This is going to be a challenge for Sheridan, but Sheridan did indeed deflect that shot away.
And you saw Sheridan fronting Aaron Gray. Definitely doesn't want to play behind him because of Gray's size advantage.
We talked a lot about Sheridan in the game last night. Great defenders, set screens, rebounds, hustles, and also had a huge scoring night last night to emerge from the shadows of the four guards a little bit.
That time Randy Foye got his mid-range jumper blocked. Pittsburgh sending a message again defensively.
Sam Young a little out of control, finds Benjamin in the corner. 3 rims out, rebound Sheridan.
If you're Pittsburgh, you got to get off to a good offensive start. This Villanova team is the kind of team you don't want to fall behind too early. They know how to work the clock and build leads.
Foul before the shot going on Sam Young. 3rd season as head coach at Pittsburgh for Jamie Dixon, an assistant under Ben Howland before that. Pittsburgh has been to the Big East championship game 4 of the last 5 years, last year being the exception. They won the tournament 3 years ago. Nardi with a 3. Villanova's only Big East tournament championship was in 1995. Steve Lapis was the coach. Kerry Kittles was the star.
You saw Mike Nardi, obviously the best three-point shooter for Villanova, get a wide open look.
Benjamin tried to force it inside to Gray. Another turnover. Villanova, such quick hands. Foy for three. Lowry the offensive rebound. In addition to their many other skills, Len, these guards are outstanding rebounders.
And they're the kind, they're not getting rebounds above the rim. They're going and they're chasing the rebounds down. This is a team that takes a lot of threes. Long shots mean long rebounds, particularly on the offensive end.
How about Sheridan looking for his? The jump hook doesn't go. Ramon, the pass is beyond him. Another Pittsburgh turnover.
Again, we talked about the long shot, the three attempt right there. And Lowry, you see him just focused on where the ball's coming off. And he gets to that spot.
He's 6'1", averages 4.6 rebounds per game. Foy's about 6'4". He averages 5.5 rebounds per game. Foy by Gray, baseline, and turns it over to Ramon. Ramon, another New York City kid, into Aaron Gray, and he lays it in as Pittsburgh is on the board.
You know, such a nice job by Gray to get Sheridan on his back. Really took up a lot of space. Sheridan not able to get around in front. And Pitt will continue to go to Aaron Gray whenever he presents himself in the paint.
3.5 minutes into Villanova 6, Pittsburgh 2. The winner to play Syracuse tomorrow night in the championship game. Another missed three and a good job on the glass by the Panthers. Pittsburgh is a very good rebounding team as well. Better than 8 rebound per game advantage over their opponents on the season, so they can match Villanova's physical play.
And here Pitt again controlling tempo, knowing that they've got an advantage with size in the half court.
Turnovers, the big problem for the Panthers right now. 4 already. Mark Jones talked about Levon Kendall back in the building, available to play, lying down right now. Sitting, obviously a problem for him. Woke up yesterday with a back spasm, something that has troubled him from time to time. A 6'9" forward and a good intangibles guy, Len. Steals, blocks, rebounds, loose balls, that kind of thing.
Right, a lot of the positive things that he does don't always show up in the stat sheet. And he's lying down on top of some heating pads. Keep that back warm.
Lowry the kick to Foy. The three from the corner. And Villanova with its third three of the game already. 2 of them belonging to Randy Foy.
And that's bad news for Pittsburgh, because once they start hitting the threes, you've got to extend, go out and get them. And then the 4 guards use their quickness to get around you and create.
Antonio Graves has checked in, but with the same results as everybody else. Another turnover. Pittsburgh's 5th. Nardi blocked by Ramon. Ramon comes up with a loose ball. 3-on-2 Pitt. Krauser. Graves. Great feed from Krauser. Faking left, dishing right.
And you talk about Carl Krauser, well schooled on the playgrounds of New York City. He's got some tricks some of us haven't even thought of.
Pittsburgh down as many as 12 to West Virginia last night. Came back and earned a win in the second half. Lowry's jumper rattles out to Aaron Gray. Krauser and Lowry, what a matchup that's going to be tonight. 2 of the most interesting characters in the conference. Lowry called for the foul, his second. We'll keep an eye on that. 9-4 Villanova. It is hot tonight here in the Garden. Syracuse is already advanced. The Panthers and Cats going at it in the second semifinal.
Through the Fire. Premieres Sunday at 8 p.m. Eastern on ESPN.
7-Up Plus with calcium. With a burst of real fruit juice, 10% of your daily calcium, and only 10 calories per serving. It's one thing strong women everywhere can't get enough of.
Manager to the front.
7-Up Plus. For great taste with calcium, the only way to go is up.
What if you attached an innovative wing structure to some bicycle machinery and launched it from a sand dune? That works. What if you created a thin piece of plastic that could easily be used just like money anywhere in the world? That works. Suppose we created an IP network so far-reaching and expansive, it could make doing business more efficient around the globe. Suppose we put your global business network in the hands of world-class professionals. People who know it from end to end. People who know how to make it efficient. Verizon has joined with MCI to form Verizon Business, where global capability meets personal accountability to make your business more successful and your life a little easier. That works. Introducing Verizon Business.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of Championship Week is presented by 7-Up. If you want 100% natural lemon and lime flavors, the only way to go is up. And in part by Verizon Wireless. Get the exclusive new Trio 700W with Windows Mobile.
Welcome back to New York. Villanova leading Pittsburgh 9-4 in the second semifinal. Here for the Big East Championship presented by Aeropostale, or as it's now known in Syracuse land, the Jerry McNamara Invitational. He did it again.
He certainly did. And again, down the stretch, Syracuse able to execute. And again, it also was contributed to by Georgetown's inability to play the defense they needed. And on the offensive end, misfiring on the last possession. Syracuse in transition, off a turnover is about as tough as there is in the nation. And Jerry McNamara, obviously just totally excited about being in the finals.
And that's great to see that emotion. There are those at times who say, well, do the conference championships still have a place in the current landscape of college basketball? That's a player there. He's won a national championship. He's won a conference championship. And you can see what winning this game and getting to the final meant to him.
Well, you know, we talk about pride of the programs, and there's also pride in your conference. And when you toil for 4 years in this conference, see all the great players come through, you recognize that this is special, and this championship is special.
Kyle Lowry sits down with 2 fouls for Villanova. Dante Cunningham, a 6'9" freshman, comes in his place. Antonio Graves buries a 3 from the wing to bring Pittsburgh back within 2. Levon Kendall has checked in for the first time now for Pittsburgh. So Pitt goes a little bigger, and with Cunningham replacing Lowry, Villanova a little bigger as well. 3 guards and 2 bigs. And Foy on the drive is fouled. Levance Fields in the game for Pittsburgh, and it's Fields, the impressive freshman, who's called for the foul.
Well, again, Villanova continually executes movement on the baseline with the big guys just to force that back line of defense to move. And then outside, you got guys who can just take people off the bounce. Creates a lot of confusion against opposing defenses.
Villanova 25-3 on the season, 14-2 in the conference, tied with UConn. As Foy gets a friendly bounce. UConn the #1 seed in the tournament on the basis of tiebreakers. Jay Wright, the Oppenheimer Fund's Big East Coach of the Year this year. 5th year at Villanova, and this a big class. He recruited most of them, all of them, New York City area kids. They're seniors now, Foy and Ray among them. Instrumental in Villanova having a tremendous season this year, and despite the loss of Curtis Sumter, being a contender for the national championship.
We just saw Villanova extend their defense set of press to try to make Pittsburgh play quicker.
Will Sheridan commits the foul as he collides with Fields. Everybody's okay, and that's the first on Sheridan. It will get physical between these two teams.
Well, we talked about Pittsburgh taking the bumpy road, and you know, they'll bang you around, knock the ball loose. Oftentimes they come up with it. Just sheer determination. We said it's not always pretty, and they can make a team like Villanova play very ugly.
Now, this game may come down to which team can impose its will and its style on the other team. Gray. Boy, he had trouble finishing around the rim against West Virginia last night, especially in the first half, and still he had 19 points. He's got to take advantage of his opportunities tonight. Nardi misses the 3, rebound to Krauser. Graves misses the 3. Remember, for Pitt, this is their 3rd game in as many nights. Villanova had a first-round bye. Given the pace, will fatigue be a factor, especially for a big guy like Aaron Gray having to run up and down with these Villanova guards all night long?
Well, as you mentioned, if Pittsburgh can't impose their will and make this a half-court kind of game, half-court on the defensive end where they can get set and really employ the help and the the grittiness that they do defensively. If they allow Villanova to push the ball up the floor and if Villanova makes them quicken, they're going to be in trouble.
You saw Gray go to the bench. Terrell Biggs has replaced him, and now Villanova turns it over.
And in order to keep control of the tempo, that means Pittsburgh can't turn the ball over in the open floor. That means no steals or fumbles. And when they get there, they've got to continue to work the ball. A couple of passes make the defense shift.
Kendall with a catch in traffic. Then the bounce pass, though, is stolen by Allen Ray as he recovered quickly on the defensive end. Now Ray tries to split the double team, but he can't. And Krauser is going to get called for the foul, his first.
And that's what we mean when we talk about the smoothness of Villanova. They're so skilled handling the ball. You take a look right here, just that little split. Krauser grabbed him with the left arm. But it's the quickness of Allen Ray, Randy Foy, and Kyle Lowry when he's in the game, and he just checked in at the scorer's table. They put so much pressure with the penetration and off the dribble.
Shane Clark in the game now for Villanova, and Cunningham stepped out of bounds as the Wildcats become turnover prone. And here comes Lowry again, and 2 fouls in all. You can see what he did last night against Rutgers, and he is a stat stuffer. Rebounds, assists, steals to go with his fair share of scoring. Nobody's guarding Fields. He'll launch and hit. It's a long 2 for Levance Fields, the freshman out of Brooklyn, Xaverian High.
Well, in controlling tempo, Pittsburgh, a very capitalistic and opportunistic team. I mean, they like piling up the points, obviously, but they want to do it their way.
Randy Foy misses the 3. Villanova has gone cold. Pittsburgh with a chance to run. Fields open on the wing. The 3 a little short. Nardi knocks it out of bounds. It'll be Pittsburgh ball when we come back. The pace of this game has swung in Pittsburgh's favor. They're back within 1.
Yeah, you throw it to me. I'm going to be wide open.
The world of light beer.
Woo! Yeah! You were open and now you are closed.
Just got a little darker. Introducing new Michelob Ultra Amber. With its deep amber color and full flavored taste, it's a new look at light beer.
No free pass, baby. Ooh, late hit.
Hey, Fred, we need... Oh, don't tell me. We need a whole new storage solution, need more capacity, better security. Ken wants recommendations on his desk ASAP.
How'd you do that?
I got the same email you did. I already called CDW. I took care of it.
Nobody responds like CDW. With fast answers to your technology questions, you get what you need when you need it. CDW. The right technology right away.
Oh, Fred, don't tell me.
No one wins this race alone. Only a skilled, finely tuned team can stay on course, no matter what the conditions. We put the right people on your side to help you meet your financial objectives. Oppenheimer Funds, the right way to invest.
Carefully consider fund investment objectives, risks, charges, and expenses. Call your advisor for a prospectus with this and other fund information. Read it carefully before investing.
Let's go!
Well, 2 programs, Villanova, Pittsburgh, have really made a name for themselves in the Big East and nationally the last few years as we welcome you back to New York. Time now for ESPN News Pride of the program. And in the spotlight tonight, a program that made a huge name for itself back in the early 90s, UNLV. The Runnin' Rebels steamrolled the nation all season and did the same to Duke in the NCAA tournament final. Led by Larry Johnson, Stacey Augmon, and Greg Anthony, UNLV topped the Blue Devils in the most lopsided victory in championship game history. And more pride available on a mobile ESPN. Tark in Vegas winning that game 103-70 to win the national championship.
Obviously, Duke got its revenge the following year. And Duke continues, obviously, to be in championship conversations. UNLV still on the road to rebuilding.
Duke got a scare from Miami today in the ACC quarters. They'll face the 12th seed in the ACC tournament of Wake Forest tomorrow in the semis. Fields, who plays with a world of confidence, and it looks like the heir apparent to Krauser next year when Krauser graduates.
Now, if you're Villanova, you're happy about the fact that you've gotten Pittsburgh to speed up a little bit, but you got to be unhappy about the fact that dribble penetration leading to some open shots. Pittsburgh executing very well. And Villanova's got to stop falling in love with the three and start working the ball a little bit closer to the basket.
Shane Clark misses a 15-footer. Rebound Kendall. Villanova has missed 8 of its last 9 shots.
See, for Villanova, you want the fast pace. Obviously, this is Pittsburgh's 3rd game in 3 nights. You want the fatigue factor to start setting in. Villanova, obviously, they're only their 2nd game.
Pittsburgh is blessed with a lot of depth. There are 10 players that Jamie Dixon has in his regular rotation. Krauser, offensive foul. The charge taken by Shane Clark.
Well, that is the key, though. You want to quicken them up and, yeah, make them use their rotation. You take a look at the drive by Krauser. Trying to do a little bit too much. Could have just pulled up nicely instead of getting up in the air and passing.
Len, number 2 on Krauser.
And that's obviously huge. Although Levance Fields, for a period of time, can lead this team.
And something, Randy Foy may have an issue as he goes over near the bench, and Jay Wright is going to make a substitution. It looks like as Lowry has come back into the game. And for reasons yet unknown, they're going to at least undo and maybe take off that. Maybe it's just a shoe problem. It might just be a shoe problem, Len. And he might be trading with somebody who doesn't get any minutes.
That's exactly what's happening. But again, if you're Villanova, you do want to get into Pitt's rotation. You want to see if those guys like 7, 8, and 9 can play.
Some of those guys freshmen. 3 of them freshmen. Fields, who's got the ball right now, Young, and Biggs.
And look at the pressure right here. This will wear on you physically and mentally.
Kyle Lowry, by the way, with that last bucket for the Wildcats to put Villanova back on top by 1.
Remember, Villanova only had a 1-point lead yesterday against Rutgers at the half and then exploded for 53 points in the 2nd half.
Ramon, soft touch. Sophomore out of All Hallows High in the Bronx has his first points of the night.
Bronx is really in the house.
Yes, it is.
And Ronald Ramon, known to be a long-range shooter, developing another facet to his game.
Offensively, Pittsburgh more perimeter-oriented this year than in previous years. The likes of Troutman and Taft and so forth, they are gone. Aaron Gray's had a big year, but they've got a lot of guards and a lot of guards who can score. Like this guy, Antonio Graves. Graves looking for his shot right now. Ray taps it right into the hands of Sam Young. Counted and a foul.
Well, there's the battle Villanova absolutely has to win. The battle of the boards. Again, Pittsburgh, a terrific rebounding team, +8 rebound margin. And we all know, again, Villanova battles you, and they battle you. But they're a lot smaller than Pittsburgh. Can't allow them second chance opportunities, especially when you work so hard defensively.
Right now, Pittsburgh +5 on the glass, 11-6. Young, a freshman out of Clinton, Maryland, 14 points and 11 rebounds last night, starting for the injured Levon Kendall. And Pittsburgh on top by 4.
Villanova not having an awful lot of success with their spread the floor and let the guards take you off the bounce. Pittsburgh doing a nice job in a help situation.
Off the leg of Sheridan out of bounds. Nardi arguing that after it hit Sheridan, it hit Aaron Gray in the leg, and I'm inclined to believe him, although it happened so quickly, it's hard to see.
It did look like Gray's foot was between Sheridan's feet.
It stands as Pittsburgh basketball. This three-quarter trap by Villanova that Pittsburgh seems to be handling very well in recent minutes.
But as I said, when you continue to apply pressure, there are a lot of teams who wilt under the mental pressure, let alone the physical fatigue.
Randy Foy's back in the game now for Villanova. All those hands reaching in on Aaron Gray. The ball hits the floor. Pittsburgh gets it back. 5 on the shot clock.
Again, boy, if Shane Clark knew that possession would have been his.
Villanova comes away with the basketball after the air ball. Nardi, a terrific outside shooter, looking for Sheridan. The kick to Allen Ray. Sheridan bumps Gray, doesn't get the finish.
I told you, the physical play at Pittsburgh, they're unyielding. You can't just bump them off their mark. They're not going anywhere.
When Antonio Graves with 7 points already, averages 4.5. Krauser and company up by 6. A 16-3 run right now for Pittsburgh.
Well, Antonio Graves last year was a major offensive contributor, averaged about 7.5 points a game, shot over 40% from 3. This year, he had some time taken away from him, particularly by Levance Fields, but he's an experienced player. He's been here before, and that's so important.
What's on the line tonight? A spot of the Big East Championship game tomorrow night, 8 Eastern, right here on ESPN. The Big East Championship presented by Aeropostale. The Syracuse Orange did it again, rallying from a 15-point halftime deficit to beat Georgetown by 1. A late McNamara 3, then a steal and a layup by Eric Devendorf, then a held ball forcing a turnover, and Syracuse in a miraculous fashion pulling it out in the last minute. They'll play the winner of this game for the Big East Championship tomorrow night right here on ESPN.
And you can think of all the things that went wrong for Georgetown and certainly have to blame themselves. The offense stagnated. The defense wasn't tight enough. But still in all, you talk about magical. Absolutely. And one thing Georgetown has to understand, that sometimes you just can't beat magic.
Syracuse with 3 wins by a total of 4 points in this tournament. Allen Ray off the bounce with a 3, his first of the night. All 4 guards have now scored as Villanova gets back within 3.
And there's the 1-2-2 3-quarter pressure. And you have to work against this enough. Woo, nice block.
Sheridan with a block, then Foy with a block. Nardi with a save. He's in the 3rd row as Villanova heads up the floor. Ray's 3 is off. He says he got hit on the elbow. No call. Graves. Ramon. Now Sam Young steps into the jumper that won't go. Well, they're scrapping for every loose ball, and we have a Villanova foul on Mike Nardi. Good start here to this one in the second semifinal. Pittsburgh trying to pull off the upset. They're up by 3.
Coach used to say 2 points is 2 points. My old coach couldn't dunk.
On Selection Sunday, who's in?
That is going to be the most compelling region.
Who's out?
That is not fair.
Dive into the brackets with Reese, Digger, Jay, and Dickie V. Bracketology, Sunday beginning at 5 on ESPN.
The journey begins on Selection Monday. From the tournament draw
I think this is a very dangerous team.
to the final buzzer.
NCAA champion.
We'll take you there. Women's Basketball Selection Special, Monday at 7 on ESPN.
Relive the magic at your Tri-State dealer.
My mother has a red car too.
You're kidding me.
No. She doesn't have red hair like you though.
My mom does.
Really?
Yeah.
That's crazy. Well, welcome to the neighborhood.
Thanks.
Okay.
No! My TV went out! My TV went out! TV went out.
Dave Revson with the Sports Center in-game update. Big 12 quarters went down to the wire.
Oklahoma State gave Kansas a heck of a game. Julian Wright, the freshman, though, the big follow there. 9 points, 8 rebounds for him. The Jayhawks pull it out by 1 against Bill Self's alma mater. Michigan State and Illinois is a good one in the Big Ten. Waning moments of the first half, 34-29 Spartans. And UCLA, top seed in the Pac-10, on top of Arizona by 9. Final 4 minutes of the first there. Dan?
Boy, Dave, UCLA looking at a terrific seed maybe if they keep rolling. Villanova probably a lock to be one regardless of what happens here. But you talk about a team effort and unselfishness. Randy Foye with a shoe problem. Mark Jones tells us how they sorted it out.
Now, here's what happened. He blew a tire, guys. Actually popped a shoelace and got a little assist from Ross Condon, his teammate. He ends up getting a new pair of shoes, actually. And Foye missed only 2 minutes, guys, but as the Big East Conference Player of the Year, you would imagine that he does have some big shoes to fill. I couldn't help myself. Back to you.
Ross Condon, a walk-on junior out of Springfield, Virginia. Let the record show the contribution he made to the Villanova cause tonight.
And also, remember your mom told you never to go out with holes in your socks?
Now you know why. So Randy Foye, who's 6'4", Ross Condon's only 5'11", but evidently the same shoe size because he's using Ross Condon's shoes right now. Levance Fields, the high arcing three. There is no fear in that freshman. Look at him. That's like Krauser Jr. right there.
Well, it looks like he's definitely been taken under Carl Krauser's wing. And again, back here in New York City, this is the mecca for so many guys born and raised in this area and played basketball here. A lot of magical things happen when you're on the floor.
Jim Burr's got a call going against Pittsburgh. And Ramon picks up the foul, his first.
And again, you see the double team on Aaron Gray. I don't know why Mike Nardi left Fields to double Gray in the corner. Gray's not going to hurt you out there, but you know that mistake became an opportunity for Fields.
At the line, Alan Ray, one of the best free throw shooters in the country, 90% on the season. How many times have you been sitting beside me when that has happened?
Far too many.
Keep in mind that Pittsburgh has this lead with Carl Krauser on the bench with 2 fouls, but to offset that, Kyle Lowry has 2 fouls, and he's been on the bench for a while for Villanova. Jamie Dixon may try to sneak through the rest of this half without Krauser if Fields and Ramon keep playing as well as they have.
And you're talking about a freshman and a sophomore, respectively, running this show.
Krauser, a 5th-year senior, has been through this many times before. Keith Benjamin rises up for a 3. Boy, contributions from everyone.
You talk about the ball moment. Swung the ball around the horn from one corner almost to the other for the open shot. Pittsburgh making the extra pass, not fazed by the pressure defense from Villanova.
Benjamin, a sophomore out of Mount Vernon, New York, averages just under 5 points per game. Ray misses the 3, and Shane Clark over the back.
And again, watch it go from the corner out to the wing, extra pass, and you see Villanova has to chase. Benjamin just lined up and hit that shot, and the Panthers just loving it.
Carl Krauser puts as much into his cheerleading as he does into his basketball. Can't wipe that smile off his face with an 8-point lead. Lowry's back in with 2 fouls. Nardi has gone to the bench for Villanova.
The Krauser looking at Fields and looking at Benjamin, the youngins, and saying, I raised them.
And at almost 25 years of age, he's got a point. Krauser put his name into the NBA draft last year, decided to come back, and I know you talked to him about it a couple of days ago. Thrilled with the decision. Aaron Gray. Lowry the rebound. Gray another miss from in close. Lowry forcing the issue, draws the foul on Ronald Ramon, and that'll be his second.
Well, one thing you got to give Villanova credit for is that they continue to push the issue. Push the envelope, force Pittsburgh to run. Kyle Lowry right at you. And that's a nightmare. A guy that quick, getting you on your heels. He can go in any direction, make you fall down.
Just a sophomore out of Philadelphia, missed the early part of last season with a torn ACL, but came back in about 3 months. Remarkably tough, great healing powers, and had a terrific freshman season. Now as a sophomore, led the conference in steals and was 2nd team All-Big East. Fields listening to his head coach, Jamie Dixon, bark out instructions as he brings it into the front court.
With a 7-point lead, this is when Pittsburgh runs its stuff. Very deliberate, looking to get inside to the big guy, and he travels. Aaron Gray not really holding up his end of the bargain tonight for Pittsburgh. Right now, they don't need him, but he's going to have to gather himself and find the formula quickly.
And he may be coming out of this game. No, Young is going to come out as Kendall checks back in. Gray is 1 for 5. He's having a problem with the little fellas, bringing the ball down low, and they're getting in his feet. He's not quite sure how to deal with that.
And I tell you what, Jamie Dixon did a good thing right there. I'm sure he wants to ultimately substitute for Aaron Gray, but you don't do it after a mistake because the guy loses confidence.
Lowry dumps it inside blindly, stolen by Gray. Benjamin 2-on-2 with Graves, and a wise decision to pull it out. Foul on Will Sheridan. Number 2 on him. Their only starting front court player. Jay Wright has other options. Shane Clark, Dante Cunningham. But Will Sheridan is pretty indispensable for Villanova with everything he brings to the table. And now he's going to sit down. And Chris Charles will come into the game, a 5th-year senior out of Milwaukee. One guy we haven't seen and that Villanova hasn't used much lately is Jason Frazier.
Well, you wonder if Jason Frazier is suffering always over the last couple of years, always debilitated by the knee problems that he's had. It's really hurt his career.
Gray, a nice tap back, Len.
Well, again, he's got to maintain his confidence level. And that's why I say it's a good thing Jamie didn't take him out of the game at this point in time. Now he can do some things to make him feel better about himself.
Vance Fields 2 more. And with Krauser on the bench with 2 fouls, the freshman Fields has been huge for the Panthers, who now have their largest lead of the game.
Just a freshman.
It's a name we're all going to be hearing a lot more of in the coming years. Alvin Ray, 2 Panthers ran at him. Can't get a shot up, and fortunate he didn't throw that away. Foy's pass deflected out of bounds by who else? Vance Fields. He's a freshman, but becoming a household name with the way he's playing here tonight.
Let's go.
Coming up on SportsCenter, complete coverage of all of the latest tournament madness. And Team USA stares down elimination. Plus, as the NFL trade moratorium winds down, who's already on the move? SportsCenter is after the game.
The World Baseball Classic. Team versus team. Nation versus nation. Baseball bragging rights are on the line. The World Baseball Classic continues through March 20th on ESPN, ESPN2, and ESPN Deportes.
Hey, Tiger, Jim here. I think I found a little problem with your game. Pushing your hips, but I think I found the solution. I want you to try something. I want you to grab a broom, okay? Lock it in, dip the hip. It's like we're dancing.
This year, people really want Tiger to win. Because now when Tiger wins, you could win his tournament car, a 2006 Buick Lucerne. Go to Buick.com for your chance to win.
Whatever it is, you can get it on eBay.
I thought we were here for a meeting.
We are.
So why are you on your laptop?
I'm emailing you. Check your inbox.
Now?
Now.
We can talk. It's a private club.
As private as our network.
I'll check my inbox.
Privacy. Powered by Cisco.
Right now, when members of Best Western's Gold Crown Club International stay 6 nights at any Best Western, you'll earn a free night. And AAA Preferred Gold Crown Club International members earn a free night after staying only 5. Plus, earn a 10% bonus in reward points. Details at bestwestern.com/AAA.
Dave Repson alongside Tom Brennan. Coming up on the 7-Up halftime report, we'll have reaction from what has already been a surprising night at the Garden, Syracuse's big win, and looks like we might have another surprise brewing.
Yeah, you know, Pitt has a lot of guys from New York City. They look like they're playing at their Rucker playground, too, tonight. But great teams love to be challenged. Great teams don't get shook about that. So the second half should be very interesting.
All right, we will hear more from the coach coming up at the half. We want to fill you in on BC and Maryland. Terps look like they may be playing themselves in to the NIT. They're down 27-8. 12 minutes in. Dan?
Dave, that was a dagger to Mr. Elmore. You dealt that blow with such oomph.
And Dave, I thought you were my boy. I didn't say anything about Northwestern.
Big East Championship presented by Aeropostale. What's at stake here tonight? A spot of the championship game tomorrow night at 8 Eastern against Jerry McNamara and the Orange. Third consecutive thrilling victory in this tournament for Syracuse. Earlier tonight over Georgetown, they won by 1. The game also available on ESPN HD. Now remember, Villanova, they're a lock to be a 1 seed. I think most people would agree they're a lock to start off the tournament at the Wachovia Center in Philadelphia. Perhaps at stake, if they run the table, is do they get Washington in the regional, the closest spot to Philly, and do they go into the tournament considered the #1 overall seed in the country, with Connecticut losing yesterday? That's for the committee to decide. Also at stake, Villanova hasn't won a Big East championship since '95. Pittsburgh's also won only 1. That was 3 years ago. Benjamin into traffic. Wave it off. Offensive foul.
Well, I'll tell you what, Pittsburgh being led by the freshman Fields, Graves, a junior, and Benjamin, a sophomore, with an awful lot of athletic skill right there. Obviously tries to bull his way through a crowd, splits the defense, but pulls up for a floater instead of a jump shot, and that caused the contact. But on the other end, Villanova having a lot of trouble beating Pittsburgh off the bounce. That's why they're settling for those threes. That mid-range shot is what's open for Villanova. Don't settle for the 3. Get yourself in position for easier buckets.
Boy has almost half of Villanova's points. Pittsburgh excelling with Carl Krauser sitting down for the last 8 minutes after he picked up his second foul. If you're wondering about the future for Pittsburgh, everybody on the floor for them right now is going to be back with them next year. Right now a turnover, and Villanova trying to get a little run going.
Nice job by Charles using his length against Aaron Gray. Look at the mismatch right there. Nice job by Nardi.
And Gray with a block on Charles.
Nardi recognized the mismatch and tried to get Gray out of position. But Charles, not accustomed to being out there, particularly on the offensive end, just wasn't able to handle a pass.
He's playing because Will Sheridan has picked up 2 fouls. Fields on a switch has Charles on him right now. That means Gray has Nardi on him. Good help by Cunningham. Kendall the offensive rebound, and he draws the foul.
Well, we're seeing some intelligent basketball right now. Very unselfish. The ability to recognize mismatches and then position it so they can exploit them. Didn't work for Villanova on their end, and here Aaron Gray at least got a shot, and Levon Kendall just anchored himself on the weak side.
Spent all of yesterday, as Mark Jones mentioned earlier, in his bed at the team hotel, suffering from back spasms. Got some treatment today, able to play, did not start, has not looked limited in his limited minutes on the floor.
Take a look at Will Sheridan a moment ago on the bench, soaking all of this in.
Statistically, one of the big stories as Gray sits down, Len. Pittsburgh doubling Villanova on the glass, 22-11. Villanova's a good rebounding team. Pittsburgh is a great rebounding team. You expect them to have an advantage, but a 2-to-1 ratio is too much for Villanova to overcome.
Well, it's not only the size, but the physical play. And once again, off the bounce. And Villanova can beat somebody, which has been rare, beat them off the bounce. They create a whole lot of options for themselves. Pittsburgh just doing an excellent job of playing solid man-to-man defense, which is a hallmark of the Pittsburgh Panthers under Jamie Dixon, and before that, Ben Howland.
In the last 4 years, 3 Sweet 16s, never further than that, a Big East championship, and 3 other trips to the final in the last 5 years. Graves is blocked by Charles, and that's what Charles can do. Long and lean, 7 foot tall with good agility.
Well, the reason Pittsburgh really doesn't advance past the Sweet 16 is because in the past they've been limited offensively. You look at this team now with Graves playing the way he has, with Fields, obviously Gray a threat inside, and Sam Young. They've got enough offensive firepower maybe to go beyond.
Timeout taken by Pitt. They're up by 7.
Man, you got to try this grilled pineapple sauce.
Try the Kung Pao.
Make way for CJ. Watch out. Watch out. What's up, guys? Hey. Don't mind if I do. Woo.
Nice, man. That was the Kung Pao sauce for my shrimp.
Dip into flavor in a whole new way with Friday's new Flavor Shots Grill. Pick an entree in your choice of either sweet or spicy Flavor Shots Grill dipping sauces. Everyone could use more Fridays.
That was him. Pittsburgh leading, favored Villanova by 7. Championship week presented by 7-Up. Semifinal action of the Big East Championship presented by Aeropostale. Syracuse has advanced to the championship game, beating Georgetown 58-57. Pittsburgh trying to join them there. Kendall is fouled on his way out. And give Kendall some credit with the back spasms, attacking the rim, knowing he's going to be hit hard.
That's pretty good execution for Kendall to be that wide open. He just came off a screen and nobody stepped up. When guys come off screens, you got to be able to at least bump or show, not to let them get clear path to the ball or to the basket.
Kendall, the 6'9" junior out of Vancouver, a redshirt junior, did not play his first year, so he's been in the program for 4 years. Even when there are young players thriving in the Pittsburgh program, as is the case this year, other coaches will say to you, Pittsburgh always seems older and experienced than other teams in the Big East. They've just got it going right now, and they never graduate 5 guys at the same time and have to fill a whole new class. They always have a lot of experience on the floor.
Well, let's build in a program, and Kyle Lowry, as Mike Nardi turns it over, Kyle Lowry's inserted in the game on the offensive end as Jay Wright's trying to play offense-defense, try to steal a little bit of time on the offensive end for Lowry. And, of course, Jamie Dixon counters by putting Ramon in to match Lowry, and now on the defensive end he gets Kendall back in as Villanova tries to go big defensively.
Pittsburgh again playing the last 10 minutes of the half without Carl Krauser, who's got 2 fouls, and playing well without him, led by Levance Fields. Graves to Kendall, and another foul, as again Pittsburgh penetrating and attacking the rim.
And you're right, that's what's doing it. The ability of Graves and Fields to get into the teeth of the Villanova defense, and you're forced to help to step up. Big guys have their hands ready. Take a look at the drive right here. Surrounded by 3 guys. Ray tries to take the charge, but the pinch by the big man from each side provides an outlet for the driver.
And now again the Lowry and Ramon substitutions you referred to earlier. Aaron Gray will sit down for Pittsburgh. Kendall piling up the points at the free throw line. This is huge for Pittsburgh. 3rd game in as many nights as opposed to Villanova, which didn't play the first night. To get a guy, they didn't choose to rest Krauser, but for Krauser to get rest because of the foul trouble, and for Pittsburgh not only to maintain but to extend the lead, that could pay huge dividends in the second half.
Oh, absolutely. And once you have a lead like this, you're not even thinking about this is the fact the 3rd night that you're playing basketball in succession. You start to have the adrenaline flow. You don't feel the fatigue.
Under 10 seconds in the half, Lowry with the ball. Good show by Kendall. Slows him down. And a travel is called on Lowry. Another one of those things that don't show up in the box score that you talked about that Kendall does, although he may have rolled his ankle on that play.
And I'm not so sure that Lowry didn't trip over somebody from Pittsburgh. But in the end, you're right. It was the show by Kendall forcing Lowry to go wide that helped create that turnover.
4 seconds. It'll be Fields from about 40 feet away, and he made that interesting. Villanova's only loss when trailing at a half this year to Connecticut, 5-1, but they've got an 11-point deficit. as they head to the break. Pittsburgh looking to join Syracuse in the championship game. Let's go to Mark Jones standing by with Jamie Dixon.
Coach, why were you as successful as you guys were in the first half, despite Carl Krauser playing limited minutes because of foul trouble?
We were playing hard. A lot of guys stepped up. LeMans played very well. Got after defense. I thought a good job getting into the ball and guarding their ball screen. So did well with a lot of things we wanted to do. I thought we missed some easy shots, but we passed the ball very well.
How important was that huge rebounding edge you guys had?
Well, we got to beat them on the boards. I mean, that's what we do. That's what we practice. That's what we preach. You got to get that done. So it's a big part of our game.
Thanks, Coach.
All right, thanks.
Guys, back to you.
Thanks, Mark. They are what they are, and they know what they are, and they did it to perfection in the first half. Pittsburgh leading by 11 over Villanova with a spot of the championship game tomorrow night against Syracuse on the line. Time now for the 7-Up halftime report. Back to the studio again with David Tom.
Thank you, Dan. So one potential one seed in the NCAA tournament has already fallen in New York. Another one in trouble. Dave Revs and Tom Brennan, welcome in. 7-Up halftime report. 16 times in the history of the Big East tournament, teams had gone to overtime and won a game, and 16 times in the history of the Big East tournament, the team that won that game had lost its next game. Trying to break that trend, the Syracuse Orange, they'd have to do it with a nicked-up Jerry McNamara, strained his groin after that OT win over UConn. They were down 15 at the half. Second half, coach McNamara comes alive.
And you know what's interesting about this, David, is there's an interesting subplot here about the overrated. Is he overrated or not? This kid has put on a 3-day show beyond compare and under an immense amount of pressure.
Hit 5 of 9 threes. Cuse within 1. Same score, and the Hoyas turn it over, and then Syracuse running the floor beautifully. McNamara to Devendorf for the hoop. Cuse up by 1. Do you take a timeout here, Coach?
Are you kidding me? We drive the ball, make them play us, and decide where we're going for dinner after it goes in.
Well, it didn't work out quite that way for Georgetown. Ashante Cook turns it over. Syracuse wins. McNamara with Mark Jones.
Have you ever been a part of a magical run like this in your life in basketball? What does this mean?
Well, I'm so proud of our guys. We could have easily quit. We could have came down here and laid over, and for us to make the finals after the year that we've had is pretty impressive. I'm just so proud of these guys.
What does it mean to make that play where Devendorf finishes it off? Take us through that play.
Well, I'm happy for Eric. You know, he's such a great player, and he's made so many great plays in this tournament for us, but I've been the one to make the last shot, and he's kind of got overshadowed. So Demetrius made a great outlet pass, and I think it was Hibbert stepped up, and he was open, so I gave it to him. I'm just happy he was knowledgeable enough to know where to go, and he's played great for us.
McNamara, the game-winning assist, averaging 9 assists per game in the Big East tournament. You see that number way up over what he did in the regular season. Three-point shooting up as well, and bottom line, TV, he has just been clutch.
Absolutely, and it's amazing that we had to almost apologize for him in the beginning of the week, and he's certainly proven everybody wrong who felt of that ill.
So they will defend their Big East title against the winner of our game coming up tomorrow night, 8 Eastern on ESPN HD. Let's go to the ACC. Wake Forest trying to continue its little run after a dreadful regular season. Cameron Stanley with the jam there. Wake on top 25-10 over NC State. And it's Justin Gray hitting the 3 as suddenly the Wake Forest team that we expected all year showed up, Tom.
As Butch and Sundance would say, who are those guys?
Well, they won 3 ACC games in more than 2 months. Now they've won 2 in 2 days. They knock off NC State 82-71. So they get the winner of Duke and Miami, which was Duke. Wasn't easy, though. J.J. Redick hitting tough pull-up there. He had 25. Duke, which trailed most of the way, wins it by the final of 80-76. And Maryland down 31-12 right now to BC. So any hopes they had, Coach, of perhaps making a run into the NCAA tournament seem to have faded away. Boston College, the 3 seed, has that one in hand, and the winner there, presumably BC, gets North Carolina in the other semi.
Still 24 minutes, though. It's a lot of time.
All right, I won't count them out quite yet. It doesn't look good, however. Still to come on the 7-Up halftime report. We'll get you caught up on the Big Ten. Michigan State and Illinois, a couple teams that were in the Final Four last year. How's that for a conference tourney matchup? We'll show you how it's going next.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of Championship Week is brought to you by OnStar by GM. To learn more, visit OnStar.com.
Incoming email.
With OnStar Vehicle Diagnostics, your Chevy runs hundreds of diagnostic checks every month and emails you the results. It's like having a conversation with your vehicle.
Hey, I'm really glad we could talk like that.
We should do it again.
There's no extra cost to eligible OnStar subscribers. Just press your blue OnStar button to sign up. Chevy, America's #1 brand, offers more vehicles with the peace of mind of OnStar.
Life takes ambition. Life takes luck. It takes determination. It takes confidence, respect, and talent. Life takes joy and spontaneity. It also takes a little help. That's where we come in. So go on, live life, and remember that no matter what it takes, life takes Visa.
All-season radio tires, anti-lock brakes, electronic stability control. They made everything about the automobile safer, except the driver. Introducing the Safe Driving Bonus, new from Allstate. With cash off your renewal bill for every 6 months you don't have one of these. It's time to make the world a better place to drive. That's Allstate, Stan. Are you in good hands?
K&G has over 4,000 men's suits in every store, starting at just $99.99. So you'll find what you're looking for, no matter what you're looking for. K&G Fashion Superstore. Call 1-800-GO-SHOP-KG.
Get the safety of all-wheel drive, the security of a no-charge 3-year premium maintenance plan, and the comfort of no-charge leather seating. For a limited time, lease the Ford 500 or Freestyle for just $259 a month. Ford 500, named a top safety pick from the Insurance Institute for Highway Safety. 500 and Freestyle, nicely equipped at just $259 a month. See your Tri-State quality Ford dealer today. Welcome back to the 7-Up Halftime Report.
Dave Reps and Tom Brennan with you. Michigan State and Illinois in the Big Ten. Illini getting the steal from Warren Carter. And the jam that ties this one up at 20. But Michigan State coach playing very well in the first half. Maurice Ager hitting the three, stayed up 23-20. Ager 16 already in this one.
I want to love this team, David. You know I do, but it's getting late. But maybe tonight's the night that they kick it into gear and start their run.
Lost 5 out of 7 down the stretch. Bruce Weber's team projected as a 2 seed right now by Joe Lunardi, who has Michigan State projected as a 7. But the Spartans on top by 4 as they play in the second half. Paul Davis also in double figures.
And you have to say that Bruce Weber has done as good a coaching job, along with Roy Williams, as anybody in this country.
Yeah, that's amazing. When you look at those guys, everything they lost off last year and just how good both of those teams are. Here's what's going on in the Big Ten today. Ohio State was down much of the way to Penn State before pulling it out. And how about Indiana now? 5 straight wins under Mike.
Calm. It's the calm. He knows it's over. No pressure. He's enjoying himself. He's enjoying the game. He's doing the Tommy Brennan thing for 5 games instead of 18 years.
Iowa also a winner, so they await the victor of that Illinois-Michigan State game. They beat Minnesota by 10.
Yeah, I was a sleeper team. Not a sleeper team, but somebody that really could cause some trouble. But they don't usually play well away from home. That's the one thing that scares me about it.
We get to the Big 12, Texas A&M and Colorado. The consensus seems to be that it's kind of a play-in game for the NCAA tournament. It was Texas A&M, a team that really showed up after Josh Carter hit there. It's AC Law the fourth, and A&M just hammering Colorado down the stretch, Coach.
And I agree with that consensus. I think that it was a playing game, and I think Texas A&M's defense is just tremendous.
You think Texas A&M should be in?
I do.
They have 1 win over a top 50 RPI team. 1.
I'm not Doug Gottlieb. Don't preach to me.
Just saying, defend the position. I don't understand why everyone's saying it's a play. And
7 in a row.
Beat Texas tomorrow. We'll talk about
breeding. You know, I always talk about breeding.
This halftime report is brought to you by 7-Up. If you want 100% natural lemon and lime flavors, the only way to go is up.
7-Up Plus with calcium. With a burst of real fruit juice, 10% of your daily calcium, and only 10 calories. calories per serving. It's one thing strong women everywhere can't get enough of.
Manager to the front.
7-Up Plus. For great taste with calcium, the only way to go is up.
Want to drive like Tiger?
Here's your chance.
This year, every time Tiger wins, you could win his tournament car.
I win, you could win. How hard is that?
A 2006 Buick Lucerne.
I see a North Star V8 in there. Heated washer fluid. Genius.
Ira Jacobs Jr. from Decatur, Georgia has already won. You could be next.
I break it in, you could drive it home. Wish me luck.
Enter today at Buick.com.
The plastics, the materials, the medicines, things that make modern life modern come from one place, chemistry. Learn more at AmericanChemistry.com.
Is there anything else I can bring you?
I know I was supposed to be back at the office at 2, sir.
Get that done, John.
Yes, sir, the job's taking longer than I expected.
Shoot. When?
I can't rush perfection.
We'll just try.
Will do, sir.
He bought it.
Innovations from Siemens can be found everywhere. By integrating communications, building technologies, and advanced medical systems, we're creating digital hospitals that can provide higher quality patient care. Siemens, we're turning dreams into reality.
This halftime report is brought to you by 7-Up. If you want 100% natural lemon and lime flavors, the only way to go is up.
The bubble team in America pulling big time for Bucknell in the Patriot League Championship. Figured to be in no matter what happened against Holy Cross, but they took care of business. Donald Brown there. The Bison wins 74-59.
Those are Hofstra students storming the court there.
Speaking of bubble teams, right? In the SEC, LSU a winner over Vandy, South Carolina, Kentucky also winners. Florida, Arkansas going at it. Winner gets LSU. Second half coming up.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of Championship Week is brought to you by Bex. Step up, stand out. Life beckons.
Precision, craftsmanship, and an obsessive attention to detail have earned the Germans their reputation for making the world's finest beer. Test drive the world's favorite German import. Life beckons.
Imagine a basketball guaranteed to stay inflated. Introducing the Never Flat from Spalding. Inside, large nitroflate molecules block smaller air molecules from escaping, so the ball stays inflated 10 times longer. The Never Flat from Spalding. True to the game.
Merry Christmas, Grandma and Grandpa!
But it's August.
I use my credit card miles. They blacked out the good weeks. While we're at it, happy Thanksgiving. Dibs on the drumstick, old man. Oh, and happy birthdays.
Yippee.
Put your Halloween costumes on while Mommy hides Easter eggs. Hey, you're looking good. Gonna cook that?
For easy-to-use rewards, get Capital One no-hassle rewards with no blackouts on any airline anytime.
Dad, I'm hot. Yeah, we're all hot.
Genius needs a Capital One card.
What's in your wallet?
This winter, get the the safety of all-wheel drive, the security of a no-charge 3-year premium maintenance plan, and the comfort of no-charge leather seating. For a limited time, lease the Ford 500 or Freestyle for just $259 a month. Ford 500, named a top safety pick from the Insurance Institute for Highway Safety. 500 and Freestyle, nicely equipped at just $259 a month. See your tri-state quality Ford dealer today.
Get all the college hoops you can handle with the ESPN Full Court pay-per-view package.
Unbelievable!
Up to 30 games per week you want to see.
Yes!
Top conferences. Critical matchups you won't get without ESPN Full Court.
Skill, 15% concentrated power of will, 5% pleasure, 50% pain, and 100% reason to remember the name.
Well, we will remember some names that are being made here in New York this week as we look at our first half stats. The big number that jumps out at you there, the bench points, 22-0. Pittsburgh has a very good bench, and we saw a couple of guys off their bench land have an outstanding first half tonight.
Oh, we certainly did. And again, as one starter and Keith Benjamin, only his second start. And then a freshman and a sophomore, Levance Fields, Antonio Graves, the junior, coming off the bench. And obviously Keith Benjamin, who started this game, only his second start. Carl Krauser loves the fact that those guys are carrying him in his absence.
Krauser sat for 11 minutes with a couple of fouls. Pittsburgh increased their lead by 10 with Krauser on the bench. What does Villanova need to do better in the second half?
Well, the first thing they have to do is rebound. As most significantly is Pittsburgh has 9 offensive rebounds, 17 second chance points off of those rebounds. And the size of Pittsburgh is creating some problems for Villanova, but also the little guys for Pitt are beating the Villanova guys to the ball, something that happens rarely.
Villanova has answered many challenges the last couple of years, dealt with a lot of adversity, injuries, and so forth. They are down by 11 against a physical, confident, and determined Pittsburgh team that beat West Virginia last night at a big comeback to get this far. Boy, the miss. Loose ball. Benjamin of the Panthers. Numbers now for Pitt. Wide open look. Benjamin leaves it short. Didn't follow his miss, or he would have had an offensive rebound. Ray in some difficulty. Timeout Villanova.
And in that last Villanova possession, you see them with more of an opportunity going to the basket.
Allen Ray in pain. We have to step aside for a moment, and we'll figure this out as soon as we come back.
Through the Fire. Premieres Sunday at 8 p.m. Eastern on ESPN.
If you're drinking an imported beer, why not drink one that's imported from a country like Germany, that's famous for beer? Step up, stand out, life beckons.
Hey, nice Harley.
Yeah. Had to get it, you know? It's great. It's the way I live my life, you know, by my own rules. Well, that's my creed or motto. My credo, you know?
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, I like to live like by the edge of my... Can you believe the crime in this town? It's crazy. It's like broad daylight right in front of us. It's like, hello, it's my bike, miss.
Maybe you should get your own.
Hello, welcome to Lowe's.
It's not just about building a home. It's about building a life. Lowe's. Let's build something together.
There's no money here.
There's no money?
No money.
Where is it?
Somewhere safe.
This is the safe.
Somewhere safer.
Safer? How?
Hardware encryption, smart cards, you know, digital security.
Who are you?
I'm from the help desk. Who are you?
Cleaning crew? This place is a mess.
Your taste in clothes, music, and women has changed. Maybe it's time to think about your beer. Step up, stand out. Life beckons.
Well, back here in New York, you saw Alan Ray was injured just before we went to the timeout as he dove for a loose ball. Carl Krauser, watch Krauser's left hand comes up and inadvertently pokes Alan Ray in the right eye. And we are certainly not qualified to assess the extent of the damage. You get a closer look here, and you can see that whatever it was, the damage that was caused, it does not look good. It does not look like it should look. As you see Ray turn around quickly, and during the break, Ray was writhing in agony. I don't know any other way to put it, for a couple of minutes as a doctor came out, and eventually they got him up on his feet, but with his eye covered, took Alan Ray off the court and to get some medical attention. And we sincerely hope that the damage is minimal. Mark Jones was closer than we were. Mark, what do you know?
Guys, I was standing just a couple of feet away from Alan Ray when they were attending to him. They put a piece of gauze-like substance over that right eye, and at the time he was yelling out, screaming, "I can't see, I can't see." They have taken him into the tunnel, put him on a stretcher right now, and as I speak to you, they are wheeling him into a back room and taking him into a room for further examination. I'll get more as that story develops, guys.
Well, it's terrible news in a scary situation, and
it's just bone chilling to see him lying there in that kind of pain, and it just makes this game placed into perspective. And if I'm Villanova, actually, I don't know how these guys can play knowing that one of their brothers suffered what appears to be something very serious.
During the timeout, all the players were huddled around the coach listening for instructions as Lowry, who just had a layup, picks up a steal, misses. Foy with a follow, and he's fouled. And right now, Villanova playing some inspired basketball in the absence of Alan Ray. But Alan Ray was lying as we look at the miss, the follow again. Alan Ray was lying on the floor 2 feet away from where his team had to gather for the huddle during the timeout, and the doctors were trying to attend to him, and he just kept banging his right leg up and down into the ground, up and down, because of the agony that he was in. And if we get any further word about his condition, we'll pass it along. Third foul on Krauser, and again, you saw the replay. It was certainly not intentional. Krauser was swiping for the basketball. He missed, and he hit Alan Ray, and I'm sure Krauser feels terribly about it.
Well, right now, obviously, they have to put that behind them for the moment and play this game. And you talk about inspired. You see a little bit of a bounce in the step for the Wildcats.
Another steal. Nardi's layup rims out, and it's out of bounds to Pittsburgh. A great effort there by Nardi. He tried to do the reverse, trying to avoid the block, and it wouldn't stay down.
Again, you take a look at Nardi right there, trying to use the rim to screen the shot blockers, and it hit everything but the bottom of the net.
Villanova has scored the first 5 points here in the second half to move back within 6. And early in the second half, Syracuse awaits the winner of the championship game tomorrow night. Fields cut off. Nardi, considered a very good on-the-ball defender, made him give up his drive.
Another second chance opportunity, but the steal.
Nardi with the quick hands again. Nardi wide open for 3. And it's out of bounds off Sheridan, back to the Panthers. They've had 2 great opportunities the last 2 times down the floor.
And that was a much better setup for the three-point shot. In the first half, 12 of Villanova's 22 field goal attempts were from beyond the arc. And I think that's kind of fallen in love with the lower percentage shot instead of trying to beat off the bounce, shift the defense, and get some open looks.
Graves finds Fields. The 3 is good, and Lowry is called for the foul.
Lowry thought he was just sticking his hand up to bother the shooter, but as he kind of saunters by, he makes contact with his back. And Fields obviously in the air in a vulnerable position. When he comes down, he's got a few words to say to Lowry.
Could have been teammates. One of the other schools that Fields had on his short list was Villanova. Missed the free throw. Fields still has a dozen, and Pittsburgh's back up by 9. Foy turns it over. Krauser on the bench again after the 3rd foul, but Graves, Ramon, and Fields doing a great job in his absence. Graves now has 9, and Jay Wright needs a timeout.
Oh, we said it before, Antonio Graves, not a stranger to playing good offensive basketball. Last year, shot over 40% from beyond the arc. And that's just a good take off the bounce, mid-range shot. You know, you wish you see more guys do that rather than settle for the 3, work to get a better one, and Antonio Graves is feeling it.
Pittsburgh trying to make it to the championship game here at the Big East Championship for the 5th time in 6 years. And whoever advances out of this game will take on the Syracuse Orange. A 1-point win over Georgetown tonight. A late 3 by who else? Jerry McNamara. Then a McNamara feed to Eric Diemendorf for a layup that provided the victory. The only time Syracuse led was the final score of the game, 59-58. It's the Big East Championship presented by Aeropostale tomorrow night at 8 Eastern right here on ESPN.
Dan, that's going to become legendary, particularly after the run Syracuse has made. When you say it's the Big East Championship, that's going to evoke thoughts and memories of the magic that we've seen in this particular series.
Syracuse came into this tournament realistically. If they lost to Cincinnati, maybe they don't go to the NCAAs. Maybe they do, maybe they don't. But that miraculous 3 by McNamara on Wednesday with half a second left to beat Cincinnati gave him a chance to play UConn. He made another big shot. They beat him in overtime. He made another big shot. They beat Georgetown. And obviously they're a lock for the tournament now, but right now they're thinking about defending their Big East crown.
This is where it's all going to start for Villanova. If they got any chance of a comeback, they're going to have to string together some stops. And guys are going to have to play within themselves, trying to fill the void left by Allen Ray's injury.
Ramon, an NBA distance
Another offensive rebound.
Raised the rim and a fresh 35 for Pittsburgh. They are crushing Villanova on the glass. Graves the miss, Foy the rebound.
Now Villanova's got to be careful now. Again, Allen Ray, I know he's on their minds. They got to be careful not to try to do more than they're capable of doing.
Sheridan tries to follow up the Lowry miss, and it bounces out of bounds to the Panthers.
And I'm detecting some angst there with Villanova, starting to press a little bit. 3 times the ball was in the grasp of a Wildcat, yet they weren't able to pull it in.
Levon Kendall has replaced Sam Young now for Pittsburgh. Kendall came off the bench and hit 6 free throws in the first half. Again, the bench scoring in the first half 22-0 in favor of the Panthers. The lob inside for Aaron Gray, who was just 1 for 7 from the floor in the first half, made that one look fairly easy.
And that's the kind of move Aaron Gray is capable of making. Villanova sent no double team, no help down there. It's just him and his man, Will Sheridan. Sizable height advantage. He took his time.
13-point deficit now for Villanova. Nardi cuts into that with a 3. Nardi's second 3 of the night. With Ray out, Jay Wright hasn't dealt with this situation much this year. He generally either plays 4 guards or rotates the 4 among the 3 perimeter spots. But right now he's either going to have to play these 3 guards the rest of the way, or if he wants to give one of them a rest, maybe go even bigger with 3 big guys on the floor. Ramon, look at this. All these guards for Pittsburgh are playing sensationally tonight.
And they're thinking, everybody talks about the Villanova guards. We got a few guards of our own here in Pittsburgh.
Ronald Ramon's second field goal. Lowry all the way using the high screen.
That's what Villanova has to do. That is their advantage. And once you start getting the defense to honor the drive, then the open shots start to make themselves available.
Lowry with a great effort and inadvertently smacked Jamie Dixon, the Pittsburgh coach, in the mouth as he flew over the Pittsburgh bench trying to save the ball. Dixon appears to be okay. As we go to a timeout here at Madison Square Garden. Pittsburgh trying to pull off the upset. They are up 10 on Villanova early in the second half with a spot of the championship game on the line. It's getting physical here in New York.
A cool head and a new copier. $2,500.
Dinosaur. Dedication.
And a coffee maker. $69. A sense of humor. And a mop. $17. Having what it takes to run a business? Priceless. To see what the MasterCard business card can do for your business, visit our website.
Precision, craftsmanship, and an obsessive attention to detail have earned the Germans their reputation for making the world's finest beer. Test drive the world's favorite German import. Life beckons.
Back here at MSG Championship Week, presented by 7-Up. Second semifinal of the Big East Championship, presented by Aeropostale. Pittsburgh leading Villanova by 10. The dominant story, though, unfortunately, is the eye injury suffered by Villanova guard Alan Ray, and it happened early in the second half as Carl Krauser inadvertently poked Ray in the eye going for a loose ball, and Ray was down, and forgive me for saying so, but was writhing in pain on the floor for a few minutes until the doctors helped him up, covered his eye in gauze and bandages, and helped him walk off the floor. And that is the last we have seen of him. That is the last we know of the situation. It's always dangerous and difficult to speculate, but from what we saw and what Mark Jones heard, as Pittsburgh calls a timeout, it did appear, unfortunately, that, Len, there's a good chance it might be a serious eye injury, and our thoughts and prayers go out to Alan Ray. And again, we don't know if he's still here, if he's been taken to hospital, but our thoughts are with him that hopefully it was not as bad as it looked.
Yeah, I mean, I agree 100%, but again, it puts this game in perspective. This is just a game, and the guys come out here and, you know, they put their health on the line. They're hustling, they're playing as hard as they possibly can, and we got to remember that nothing is guaranteed us. I mean, and that's why you see guys eventually with the fraternity saying prayers with each other, just for your health. And, you know, as a player who has suffered some injuries, you know, something as serious as an eye injury that can affect you for the rest of your life, you just feel so bad for Alan Ray.
Let's go back to Mark Jones.
As just moments ago told that Alan Ray was taken away in an ambulance to the hospital for further examination. We'll get you more details as this story develops. Right now, there are several doctors still huddled up in the tunnel here at Madison Square Garden discussing his situation. Back to you guys.
All right, Mark, thank you very much. As Nardi goes tumbling out of bounds, one thing that we can tell you that we did hear through the various microphones that are placed around the court is within seconds of Ray being on the ground and within literally 2 or 3 seconds of the first doctor reaching him, the doctor hollered out, and I don't know which doctor it was, but the doctor hollered out as Graves hits a 3, get a stretcher over here, and that is never a good sign. And as Mark said, Ray has been taken to hospital. If we get further updates before the end of the game, we'll get them to you right away.
Again, you know, our thoughts and prayers with Alan Ray, but they're also with this Villanova team because, as I said, I don't know how you play knowing that one of your brothers is, you know, in jeopardy.
Yeah.
You cannot have your mind on this game.
This is a bunch that's been together for a few years now. Alan Ray's a senior, Foy's a senior, Sumter's a senior, and we know his story. Jason Frazier is a senior. He's had 7 surgeries over the last 4 years. This is a close-knit group that has been through a lot as a group, and they appear to have an unusually strong bond with one another. Charles working hard inside.
And you see the guys from the Nova bench get up and cheer Chris Charles. You know, every contribution made by Villanova at this point in time is magnified by the events.
Pittsburgh, their lead 11, the same as it was at halftime. Again, Carl Krauser getting a long stint on the bench because of foul trouble tonight. But the guy handling the basketball, Levance Fields, has played like a senior, not a freshman here tonight. He has been terrific, and he's one of the big reasons why Pittsburgh's bench is dominating Villanova's bench here tonight.
And, you know, if I'm Randy Foy, Levance Fields handling the ball, he and Ronald Ramon handling the ball pretty well. If I'm Villanova, I try to just keep him going east-west, not let him penetrate to the basket. You don't have to gamble. You don't have to reach. They're dominating the ball for the most part. So you get up on them, make sure that you keep them from turning the corner, and don't waste fouls on reaching. Hopefully, they'll get it to the wrong guy who can't put the ball in the basket.
You were telling me yesterday, Fields reminds you a little bit in terms of his build and his style of a John Bagley type player.
Well, he certainly does. He's got that herky-jerky move. He's very, I was going to say, you know, he fools you, thinking he's not as quick as he is.
Well, guys are getting after it. Antonio Graves ran into press row, saving that ball, and is reaching down, or was reaching down, rubbing his right leg a little bit. Now trying to defend the ultra-quick Kyle Lowry. Graves is called for the foul.
You know, you talk about being deceptive, and you see the hustle right there. When you talk about being deceptive, Kyle Lowry is another one of those guys that's relatively deceptive. You don't know that he's as strong as he is when he goes to the basket.
8th point on the night for Lowry brings Villanova within 10. Shane Clark into the game for Villanova. And Carl Krauser, with 3 fouls, has returned now for Pittsburgh. He only played 9 minutes in the first half, and he's only played a couple of minutes here in the second half.
Missed opportunities. Got to make the free throws when points are a premium.
Sam Young being defended by Sheridan, tries to spin around him, and Sheridan and/or Charles got a piece of that shot. Nardi open on the wing. And a couple of times Nardi's had a pretty good look, and he's a great three-point shooter, but they have not fallen here in the second half.
Well, at this point in the game, that's still a pretty good shot. A little less than 12 minutes left. But it's a better shot if you start making some of them.
10-point lead. Midway through the second half, Syracuse awaits the winner in tomorrow night's championship game here on ESPN.
Mismatch right now. Krauser with the big Chris Charles on him, and Krauser throws it to the side instead of penetrating.
Graves a long 2, and Antonio Graves continues to light it up. He's got 14 tonight. He averages 4.5.
But again, last year shot over 40% from beyond the arc when he was playing a lot more minutes. So that's not a stranger to him going on these types of streaks.
You've got a number 9 seed in this tournament, Syracuse, already in the final. The lowest seed to ever get that far. Now you've got a number 6 seed in Pittsburgh trying to join them. And guys like Levance Fields, Antonio Graves helping them get there.
15% concentrated power of will, 5% pleasure, 50% pain, and 100% reason to remember the name.
Fred, I want upgrades. More speed, better security, and I want options by Tuesday.
Tuesday?
Yeah.
Oh, no. Ah, Rudy, why me? Oh.
Look, maybe I can get you some more time.
No, Tuesday's fine. I'll just call CDW. We'll work out some options. Rudy.
Nobody responds like CDW with great technology like the ThinkCenter E50 Express, featuring rescue and recovery software. CDW, the right technology, right away.
Thanks for caring, man.
Introducing mobile ESPN. Sports fans, your phone has arrived.
The journey begins on Selection Monday. From the tournament draw
I think this is a very dangerous team.
to the final buzzer.
NCAA champion.
We'll take you there. Women's Basketball Selection Special, Monday at 7 on ESPN.
Kite forward.
Relive the magic at your Tri-State dealer.
Dave Revson in our Sports Center in-game studios updating you on the Big Ten, Michigan State and Illinois. Shannon Brown with the pull-up there. Spartans on top by 8 with the winner to get Iowa. Boston College all over Maryland. It's 50-29 there. Winner there gets Carolina, and Florida in a close one with Arkansas, with LSU awaiting the winner in the SEC.
Dave, thank you. Back here in New York, Pittsburgh up a dozen on Villanova, trying to advance to the championship game here at the Big East Championship presented by Aeropostale. Championship week rolls on and into the ACC tomorrow on ESPN2. Championship week presented by 7-Up. It's the ACC semifinals. The last place team in the league, the 12th seeded Wake Forest Demon Deacons, will take on the number 1 seed Duke. And then North Carolina against the winner of Maryland and BC, looking increasingly, obviously, like it will be the Eagles after the score that Dave just gave you. How about North Carolina, Len? Whoever would have thought back in November, with all the turnover and all the young players they have, that they'd be in play maybe for a 2 or 3 seed in the tournament?
Well, I'll tell you what, Roy Williams has done a terrific job bringing that team along. There were times when you thought they were going to revert to the inexperience, the freshmen not playing the way they needed to, but he's really helped them mature and given them confidence. And you know, they're a team, I said a couple weeks ago, dark horse Final Four. I don't think they're such a dark horse anymore.
Well, so many of the top seeds have struggled in the last couple of days. Duke barely got by Miami. A very good Tennessee team was beaten by South Carolina today. Connecticut lost to Syracuse yesterday. Villanova's on the ropes here against Pittsburgh tonight.
Well, if you think about the fact that most coaches will tell you they prime their team so that they play their best ball here in March. You know, the gap between the haves and the have-nots, the good and the very good, starts to narrow greatly, particularly in conference tournaments where everybody knows everyone so well.
Krauser with a great ball fake. Nails the 3. A 2-pointer, excuse me, a long 2. Flashes the X for the Bronx side, and Pittsburgh is up by 14. Villanova in some trouble right now. First 2 points of the night, by the way, for Krauser. Villanova down 14, and again playing without the injured Allen Ray. Boy, the miss. Sheridan strapping for the rebound, but it comes down to Kendall. Ray suffering an eye injury early this half. Was helped off the floor after several minutes on the court. And we are now told that has gone to the hospital in an ambulance along with his parents. We do not know the extent of the damage. The doctors, as we mentioned, as soon as they got to him, called for a stretcher. And our thoughts are with Allen Ray. He's gone to the hospital, and Villanova now facing a 14-point deficit without one of their stars. Lowry, and it will be a block. Boy, Lowry's got that extra gear. Villanova wants the bucket.
Well, not only does he have the extra gear, I mentioned his strength. Once he goes into the paint, he can take those bumps and still has the ability to try to finish. That time the hustle by Kendall prevented what could have been 3-point play.
Second foul on Graves, and Lowry to the line. Lowry is a guy who, and we've seen it, Len, in a couple of games where we've done, he has taken over games for 8 or 10 minute stretches at a time at both ends of the floor. He's got that ability and he's got that fire.
Well, that's got to be the mindset right now. Someone for Villanova has to step up and lead, be it Lowry, be it Foy. But they've got to be able to instill confidence in their teammates. Couple of big plays, couple of defensive stops. Again, here comes the pressure.
3 guards, Lowry, Foy, and Nardi out there along with Sheridan and the freshman forward Dante Cunningham. Kendall and Young in the front court for Pittsburgh. Gray on the bench right now. And again, Pittsburgh getting phenomenal production from their backcourt tonight.
Now, I'm not such a fan of this. Jamie Dixon must know what he's doing, trying to milk the clock. Waits about 8 seconds before they run their offense. Just a simple weave to get Krauser the ball and let him create.
It winds up in a bucket. Krauser the assist. Young the basket.
If you're Villanova, you got to make an adjustment. When Krauser comes off that weave, you got to have your best defender on him, and everybody else has to stay at home.
Pittsburgh struggled mightily in the second half against Louisville after clobbering them in the first half. Although they've won twice, they haven't played a complete 40 minutes in either of their first 2 games. This has been their best effort so far over an extended period. Kendall misses the layup. Here comes Villanova on the run. Foy the pull-up. And a long rebound to Lowry, finds Sheridan, and they're back within 12. First points of the night for Sheridan, who had 17 last night against Rutgers.
Again, against this pressure, when Pittsburgh finally solves it, they try to get the ball back outside and they start milking clock, but you wind up losing your momentum offensively.
Lowry has committed another foul, number 4 on Kyle Lowry.
Boy, that's a blow right there. You need guys on the floor. They're going to be able to create opportunities for themselves and others, and Lowry, one of only 2 guys out there really capable of doing that, and he just fought back. Now, Kendall obviously gave it a little more of the acting, but Lowry's got to keep his emotions in check, and that's a hard thing to do, obviously, considering the Allen Race situation.
Krauser misses the 3. So with Villanova playing 4 guards so much of the time this season, right now they're playing 2 guards with 6'8" Shane Clark playing the 3 spot. This is a lineup Villanova has not used at any point this season. Brought on by the injury to Ray and the foul trouble to Lowry. Krauser in the corner again. Shot clock under 10. Jamie Dixon hollering at his team to get going, to get something happening here with the shot clock running down. That'll work.
Oh,
Antonio Graves, 17 on the night.
Graves is unconscious.
Lowry's 4th foul. Graves is 3. And it's a 15-point margin for Pittsburgh with just 7:20 to go.
Well, again, the penetration of Carl Krauser and Graves just by himself. Nardi, about 10 feet away, has to throw himself towards Graves. But I think what's happened is Villanova so conscious of getting beat off the dribble that they're sending everybody to the ball handler and leaving the perimeter guys open for standstill jumpers.
And as we've mentioned often tonight, it's Pittsburgh's bench that has made the difference.
Well, again, it begins with Levance Fields. Obviously, Keith Benjamin a starter, but only a 2nd start. But Antonio Graves has been the man. You know, Ronald Ramon has chipped in as well. But when you look at Graves, again, a catch-and-shoot guy. As we mentioned last year, integral part of their attack, shooting over 40% from beyond the arc, and I think he's having flashbacks from last year.
Graves, a junior out of Mansfield, Ohio, is having one of the best nights of his career. Pittsburgh up by 15, trying to...
No, you're not going to get it done like that. Not just to come down the floor and hoist up a 3. Mansfield, Ohio, huh? That's where Graves is from? You mean he's not from the Bronx?
Villanova's been beaten only 3 times this year by Connecticut, West Virginia, and Texas. They are 25-3 and looking at a 1 seed, win or lose, you would have to say. But Pittsburgh playing some inspired basketball just as they did in the second half last night against West Virginia. Look at this look for Krauser. Wow.
It's just shooting drills right now. Spot up, penetration, kick, Just get your feet set, let it fly.
Nothing Lowry can do. He's got 4 fouls, but Jay Wright has no choice. He's going to put his spark plug back into the game. Boy, the turnaround in traffic. And a foul over the back by Dante Cunningham, and this one is quickly slipping away from Villanova. They're going to remember the names of these Panthers the way they're playing here tonight.
Let's go.
7-Up Plus with calcium. With a burst of real fruit juice, 10% of your daily calcium, and only 10 calories per serving. It's one thing strong women everywhere can't get enough of.
Manager to the front.
7-Up Plus. For great taste with calcium, the only way to go is up.
Investing is about knowing the waters and where the real risks are. At T. Rowe Price, we navigate the market with discipline, relying on experience and our own independent research. For each 1, 5, and 10-year period, 70% of our funds beat their Lipper average. Low-cost mutual funds from T. Rowe Price. Invest with confidence. Request a complete prospectus or profile with investment objectives, risks, fees, expenses, and other information to read and consider carefully before investing.
You can get it on eBay.
I haven't felt the same since that dog bit me.
The Shaggy Dog is wonderfully hilarious and full of non-stop laughs. The Shaggy Dog, rated PG.
To infinity and
now playing.
ESPN2's exclusive presentation of Championship Week is presented by 7-Up. If you want 100% natural lemon and lime flavors, the only way to go is up.
Welcome back to New York City, the site of the Big East Championship presented by Aeropostale. Pittsburgh 56, Villanova 38, 6:21 to go. The winner advances to play Syracuse in the championship game tomorrow night. Again, the big story in this game, the eye injury suffered by Allen Ray. He and his parents in an ambulance have been taken to hospital. It looks serious. They called for a stretcher before they were able to get him up and get him out of here and get him into the ambulance very quickly. The bench has been dominant for Pittsburgh. And you talked a little bit during the break, Len, about the psyche of Villanova. How do they focus as much on the task at hand with the basketball game, knowing that one of their great friends and teammates is in as much difficulty as he appeared to be? Let's see if there's any new information as we go to Mark Jones.
Well, guys, I just finished speaking with Allen Ray's grandfather, John Kendrick, who tells me they've been trying to communicate with Allen's mother and father at St. Peter's Hospital here in New York City, but unfortunately, phone service unable to communicate clearly at this point. John Kendrick, his grandfather, just left a few moments ago to go join the rest of the family at the hospital to figure out and further the status of Allen Ray. Guys, back to you.
All right, Mark, thank you. And for those who weren't with us, it happened early in the second half. A loose ball, and Carl Krauser lunging for the ball and accidentally poked Allen Ray in the eye, for lack of a better term, and completely inadvertent. Obviously, he was going for the basketball, but it was obvious immediately that this had the potential to be a serious injury. Allen Ray was on the ground writhing for 3 or 4 minutes during the timeout. They called for a stretcher when none showed up that quickly. They eventually got him up and helped him get off the court, and Mark Jones reported then, so I will repeat what Mark told us, that as Allen Ray was walking off or was being helped off, he was saying, I can't see, I can't see. And again, our thoughts and prayers go out to Allen Ray that this will somehow turn out to be much better than it looked at the time.
And again, the way we feel, obviously it's difficult to do this game knowing what happened and obviously knowing what the consequences could be. But imagine being a Villanova player. You're down this far. You're carrying an emotional burden as well as trying to beat Pittsburgh. And my belief is that if Villanova can't cut into this lead significantly in the next couple of minutes, that emotional burden becomes too much, and they're just going to have to give up.
They are a group, as we mentioned, that has been through a tremendous amount together as Randy Foye lays it in. Jay Wright recruited Foye, Ray, Sumter, and Frazier together. They've all been together for a number of years. As now Levon Kendall is going to check into the game for Pittsburgh. They had a scare on a flight, I believe, coming out of Providence last year, where the plane was out over the Atlantic Ocean as it began to circle, and they had trouble. They couldn't get the plane just couldn't gain any altitude, and they had to make an emergency landing. And from speaking to those who were on the plane, it was a terrifying experience. They've had Jason Frazier having 7 surgeries, Curtis Sumter tearing his ACL twice. They had that phone card scandal resulting in a lot of suspensions, which basically ruined their year a couple of years ago. This is, although they are smooth as silk, as you said, Lynn, earlier, great block by Foye on the floor, this has not been smooth sailing for Villanova over the last 4 years. And as a result, through adversity, there has developed a tremendous bond between player and player, between coach and player, between student body and players. It is an extremely tight-knit group, and all of them are thinking about one thing only right now, and that's the well-being of Allen Ray.
And you need every bit of your fiber to summon up what's necessary to make a comeback here. And obviously that fiber is occupied emotionally by the injury to Allen Ray. And that's what I say. Again, you watch them, you watch the body language. In a little bit of time, these guys are going to wind up giving in to the emotional burden unless somebody can lift them up and maybe help them cut into this lead and let them see there's some hope.
Into the final 5 minutes now with Pittsburgh holding a 16-point lead. Shot clock at 7. And Ramon's fadeaway. He has made some tough shots tonight.
Well, this is now starting to become, at least for Pittsburgh, you know, just get on the playground. Let's see what you can do. Spread it out. Go one-on-one, kind of taking a page out of Villanova's book.
Pittsburgh, a physically and mentally tough group. At times, as we mentioned, as Foy's floater goes down there, and sometimes it's not all that pretty with Pittsburgh, although tonight it really has been. They've played some great basketball, but...
Well, it's not going to happen on the offensive end. That's the result. It's got to happen for Villanova on the defensive end.
Look at this. And it's going to go against Krauser. Maybe a little bit too fancy. Number 4 on Krauser, whose minutes have been limited tonight.
Really not thinking, looking for himself. Gray was the open guy. You know, if nothing else, you pass to Gray, come back and get it.
My bad. Yeah, see, he's knocking on his head saying, I wasn't thinking. Foye from the wing. A 3, and it's a 13-point game. Foye has 21 points tonight.
And maybe Randy Foye is that one guy that'll provide some hope for Villanova. But as we said, it begins on the defensive end. They got to stop. They got to string some stops together.
Nardi commits the foul to take us to a timeout. Pittsburgh up by 13, inching closer toward the championship game. Getting great production from all their guards, including Ronald Ramon.
How's the business?
We got new cars for our execs. What do you got?
We've got a secure network. We don't have to commute. Check.
Company barbecues?
Secure network. We commingle 24/7.
Yoga. Stress reduction.
Secure network. No stress. Check.
Espresso bar.
Checkmate.
Check.
Confidence, powered by Cisco.
Will that light stay yellow for 3 seconds? Or 6? If the tire shreds, where will it land? Uncertainty on the road can lead to an accident. Now Allstate offers a little extra protection. Accident forgiveness, new from Allstate. Now your rates won't go up just because of an accident. It's time to make the world a better place to drive. That's Allstate stand. Are you in good hands?
Beautiful dawn lights up the shore for me. There is nothing else in the world. I'd rather wake up and see where
Selection Sunday, who's in?
That is going to be the most compelling region.
Who's out?
That is not fair.
Dive into the brackets with Reese, Digger, Jay, and Dickie V. Bracketology, Sunday beginning at 5 on ESPN.
Coming up on SportsCenter, complete coverage of all of the latest tournament madness. And Team USA stares down elimination. Plus, as the NFL trade moratorium winds down, who's already on the move? SportsCenter is after the game.
Dave Repson with the SportsCenter in-game update as Michigan State knocks off Illinois in the Big Ten quarter 61-56. Paul Davis, Maurice Ager, Shannon Brown combining for 46. So the Spartans face Iowa in the semis tomorrow.
Tonight's telecast is available in stunning high definition on ESPN HD, brought to you by Dish Network. Welcome back to New York. Dan Schulman, Len Elmore, Mark Jones with you. The second semifinal here at the Big East Championship presented by Aeropostale. Time running out on the Wildcats, down 13, 3:51 to go. Jay Wright looking to the court, but probably thinking of Alan Ray, who has been taken to hospital with an eye injury. No further details available. Syracuse advanced earlier tonight to beat Georgetown in another thriller by 1. Jerry McNamara heavily involved again in many ways. So it will be the number 9 seed, Syracuse, the lowest seed ever to advance to the Big East Championship game, potentially against the number 6 seed in Pittsburgh. And if that's the case, somebody who's playing for 4 days is going to win the Big East title, and that's never happened before. Well, Vance Fields, 2 more. He has been awfully impressive the last couple of nights.
Well, he certainly has. And again, the confidence that he has in going to the basket and taking people. And Randy Foye trying to hold his team up. But he just got to find an answer for the one-on-one off the bounce take.
Foye now with 23. Fields has tied his season and career high with 14. And Pittsburgh learning tonight they can play very well even with Krauser on the bench, because Graves and Fields and Ramon all playing with a tremendous amount of confidence tonight. Krauser limited by foul trouble most of the night. Offensive rebound, one of the big stories of the night, although then Graves loses it out of bounds. Well, if it is Syracuse and Pittsburgh, tomorrow night they met once earlier this season, January 23rd at the Pitt in Pittsburgh. And the Panthers emerged victorious on a huge performance from Carl Krauser.
And you get the impression that Carl Krauser accepts the challenge. You know, he and McNamara have been around for a long, long time battling each other. And I think more than at any time, I think Krauser may accept the challenge tomorrow, recognizing what Jerry's been able to accomplish. And I'm sure Jerry will be right back at you.
Jerry McNamara with 17 or more points today. 3rd consecutive game he's had 17. Also had 5 assists, including the one that fed Eric Devendorf for the layup that provided Syracuse with their only lead of the game, and wound up holding up as the winner in a 1-point game, 58-57. Gray is fouled by Sheridan. As mentioned, nobody has ever won 4 games in 4 days at the Big East tournament. Several teams have made it to the final, including West Virginia last year, only to lose to Syracuse. But if Pittsburgh wins this one, that fact is going to be history.
Jamie Dixon, having been there before, you know, recognizes obviously that we just need a couple of more possessions, a couple more scores to close this one down. Most importantly, they can't turn the ball over. They can trade baskets. They can't give extra opportunities to Villanova.
Foye elevates for a 3, and the rebound to Kendall. Lowry has just fouled out of the game.
And that, to me, obviously, you look at the time, there's no hope for them anyway, but that kind of puts the period on it.
Jay Wright wants to talk to his players, and this probably has less to do with strategy.
Absolutely.
Yeah, this is coaching and teaching and learning right here as Jay Wright talks to his players. A very positive upbeat, optimistic guy.
Well, it tests those skills and then some. It also tests your faith.
Stay tuned for Sports Center and College Game Night. If there's any news to report on Alan Ray, it will be passed along. Again, taken to the hospital with what appeared to be a serious eye injury. His parents accompanying him in the ambulance. It happened early second half. Pittsburgh was leading then, has stretched out the lead. Sports Center coming up next here on ESPN. Plenty of madness around the country. The United States advances in the WBC and some football news as well. The last thing on the minds of these Wildcats right now is they've got an NCAA tournament to play. They took them a while to deal with Sumter's injury and to regroup, and they've had a phenomenal season. They have played brilliant basketball without one of their best players. This is different because of the nature of the injury, and none of them knows the severity of the injury right now.
Well, the injury has cast a pall even on the Garden right here.
It really has. Yeah.
Let's take nothing away from Pittsburgh, though. Pittsburgh came out here, you know, started off slowly, went on a tremendous run, 30-12 run to end the first half, up by 11. And then it's been all Pittsburgh here in the second half as well. They came out to play. They played their brand of ball, scrappy, aggressive, pounding the boards. And then when they got the lead, they utilized their strengths. A lot of terrific one-on-one play. And guys like Antonio Graves, Levance Fields off the bench just contributed tremendously. It's a tribute to the depth of the Pittsburgh Panthers.
Pitt barely escaping Louisville in the first round, had a huge first half lead and saw it whittle down to 3 in the last minute before they won by 5. Trailed West Virginia by as many as a dozen last night, came back to win impressively. And tonight led by 11 at halftime. Got brilliant play from their guards. Villanova pressuring, but, well, I was going to say not intentionally fouling, although Sheridan reaches out and commits a foul right there to stop the clock with 1:16. Number 4 on Sheridan. And Shane Clark will be returning as Cunningham goes out. Graves with his 18th point of the night, one shy of his career high. And now Jamie Dixon's going to pull his players out of the lane.
I'll tell you what, though, the one thing about Graves, and he's got to thank his teammates, is that they put him in a position to succeed. They went to his strengths, penetrate, and he just spotted up. He was able to make himself available and got himself started on that hot streak.
Loose ball rebound to Krauser as we near the final minute. Over to Madison Square Garden. And Bilal Ben commits the foul. He's just come into the game recently. A freshman out of Philadelphia, went to the same high school that Kyle Lowry did. Lowry's already fouled out of this game. Jamie Dixon and the Panthers, their fans cheering down at this end of the floor. Getting ready and maybe try to acquire some tickets for the championship game tomorrow night. Number 9 against number 6 in terms of the seedings in this conference will meet for the Big East Championship. 8 o'clock Eastern tomorrow night here on ESPN. The Big East Championship presented by Aeropostale. Syracuse will try to defend its title. Pittsburgh looking for its second ever Big East tournament championship. They won 3 years ago. Pittsburgh will now have played, including tomorrow, in the championship game 5 times in the last 6 years. A deep 3 from Foy and a timeout taken by Jay Wright.
Well, you keep this game in a big picture sense. If there's any meaning to the word defense wins championships, Pittsburgh 3rd in the conference in scoring defense and allows only 63 points a game, and they've held Villanova right now just above 50.
Pittsburgh's only Big East Tournament championship, 2003, led by Brandon Knight. They took on UConn for the second time in a row. Great hustle play there by Brandon Knight. You and I were sitting courtside for that. Atlanta 74-56 win. Donatas Zavaskas, Jerron Brown. They had some terrific players on that team, hard-nosed players. And you can see that now, assuming they're going to get to the game tomorrow, it'll be 5 times in 6 years. And over this period of time, one of the, if not the toughest conference in America. And there's Mr. Knight right here sitting behind the Pittsburgh bench. She has had some knee surgery, so has put professional basketball on hold for the season.
And that's a New Jersey hat, folks, in case you didn't know. That's the NJ, not NY. Brandon Knight hailing from New Jersey.
Well, he got every ounce out of his ability and set the tone for Krauser, who appears to be setting the tone for Fields, and on it goes in this Pittsburgh program. Pittsburgh basketball, less than a minute to go. Pitt up 13 on Villanova.
And we were surmising at the beginning of the tournament that a team like Pittsburgh would be one of those teams that's built for the long haul, because they have 10 guys in a rotation, all of them come in and contribute, that they'd be the ones best situated to withstand the fatigue that sets in playing 4 games in 4 nights. And then the other side, you've got Syracuse fueled by magic, pixie dust, something. Well, they're going to be walking on cloud 9. There will be no fatigue tomorrow. We can say all we want. There will be no fatigue tomorrow. Both of these teams playing on adrenaline, knowing what's at stake.
Jerry McNamara sat down for 6 minutes in the first half for Syracuse tonight. Early in the game, just a couple of minutes in, we have talked about the slight groin strain that he has, and rolled his ankle last night and all the minutes he's played, but he came back with a vengeance, hit 5 threes in the second half, and Syracuse needed every one of them as they beat Georgetown by a point, 58-57. Villanova continues to foul, and the crowd now starting to get on their case a little bit. Will Sheridan commits the foul, and that's going to be number 5 on him. Just a very difficult night for Villanova. The loss, the least of their concerns right now. All of their thoughts, no doubt, focused on Allen Ray, taken to the hospital with what appeared to be a serious eye injury early in the second half. SportsCenter is next here on ESPN. We'll have post-game coverage of this game over on ESPN News. If there is any update on Allen Ray, obviously we will pass it along. It has, as Len said, cast a bit of a pall over the building, because it did appear to be serious right away, and nothing we have learned since, which is not a whole lot, has led us to believe otherwise. He's gone to the hospital with his parents, and the Villanova players may have very little idea of exactly what's gone on, because they've tried to play basketball, and Ray was off the court and gone from sight within a few minutes. And again, our thoughts are with him and his family that it is not as serious as it appeared to be. Bilal Ben off to Chris Charles for the dunk. Shot clock and game clock just about bang on right now. The Pittsburgh fans, who now outnumber the Villanova fans, starting to rise. It's been quite a 3-night run here for the Panthers.
Again, a job well done, particularly on the defensive end. They scrapped, they clawed, they banged on the boards, and then they got some tremendous offensive firepower from the bench.
Game over. Pittsburgh 68, Villanova 54. Carl Krauser from the Panthers will advance to the championship game to take on Jerry McNamara and the Syracuse Orange tomorrow night. Coming up next here on ESPN, it's SportsCenter. We've got post-game extra over on ESPN News. This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. For Len Elmore, Mark Jones, and our entire ESPN crew, I'm Dan Schulman. Thanks for watching, and we invite you to join us again tomorrow night for the championship game, 8 Eastern, here on ESPN. Sports Center is next.
Welcome, Wyoming and Utah. Follow us in the Mountain West Conference Tournament here on ESPN at midnight. 1 minute later, the NFL free agency period begins. John Butchergrosh, John Anderson will have the latest NFL news coming up. But we begin with Jerry McNamara in Syracuse with yet another Cinderella story.
That's right. He's overrated, and he continues to over-deliver. Cuse, Georgetown, Big East royalty in the conference tourney semis. McNamara, 80 of 85 possible minutes so far in 2 games. Perhaps tired legs. Took a while for the man to build up his steam. Nursing a sore groin, he sit a total of 8 minutes in the first half, have just 2 points. Meanwhile, Georgetown, big, Ashante Cook, and they go in. The Hoyas up 15 at the half. Second half, McNamara finding the range. An OT winner has never won the following game in the Big East tournament history, 0-16, but McNamara getting his thing on with less than